Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to my channel, to my Wonderland. It is another coffee time with the books, of course, and this time I bring you yet another book haul. Get used to this sentence because you're gonna hear it a lot in my channel because I have no self-control. So yeah, we have another book haul.
It's coffee time!
In this particular book haul, I have 28 books for you. Some of them I got for readathons, other ones I got for the collection that I want to build. So we're just gonna go through them. So let's check first these ones. And these are books that I got for the Buzzwordathon with the words, you know, what, why, when, where, who, and why. So I got I Know What You Did Last Summer by Duncan, and this is a book based on these teenagers that one day, it's two couples of teenagers, and one day they're in the car going home after a party and they ran over a little kid on a bicycle and they decide to basically just run for it. They did call 911, but you know, they were already gone from the scene, so the boy ended up dying, and 1 year later somebody sends them a note that says, I know what you did last summer. So this is basically the novel that inspired the movie, even though in the movie there were some changes. So I wanted to read it because, you know, that movie was a very important movie in the 90s that I've always loved. So I decided to read the book. Then we have How I Live Now by Meg Rosoff, and I love this one because it reminds me of Anne Frank's diary, the book Thief, and All the Light We Cannot See. It was a book where this girl is sent by his parents to England to visit her aunt and cousins because she is dealing with a eating disorder, so disclaimer for eating disorder, and she goes there and then suddenly she finds herself in the middle of war. And it was so beautiful, so heartbreaking. It was just fantastic. So if you like this kind of stories and books, definitely give this one a read, but you know, be warned that there is war and eating disorder involved in it. Then we have Why We Took the Car by Wolfgang Herrndorf, and I went into this book thinking it was going to be a cute, funny, you know, road trip, and it ended up being the weirdest trip. And it reminded me a little bit of the, you know, books from John Green. So if you're interested in things like that, or you know, interested in books that are road trips that start with some innocent road trip and ends up in a totally weird story, this one's for you. Then we have Who Goes There by John W. Campbell, and this is a compilation of short stories, and one of them is the novella that inspired the movie The Thing by John Carpenter, which is going to be one of the best horror science fiction movies ever, forever. So I wanted to really read the novella because I never had, and I got this copy because it included also all other short stories by the author, and I just loved it. But you know, go into this one thinking it is kind of like an older book, it is adult, and it's kind of science fiction horror. So you know, if you're really into that, then this one's gonna be for you. But like I said, it's adult, so it reads totally different. So yeah, be aware when you go into that it was written, I believe, in the 30s or so. So it is like an older style of writing. But if you really like the old science fiction horror movies, I'm definitely convinced that you're gonna love this one. Then we have I Stop Somewhere by T.E. Carter. This has become one of my favorite reads of 2019. This book, it is absolutely gorgeous. It is wonderfully written. It is heartbreaking. It is so hard to read at times. Like, I'm getting emotional now because this book, it was so good. But it deals with rape and physical assault. So just, you know, be aware when you go into this book that you have to be in a good place. Do not read this book if you're not ready for it, if you're not in a good place. I cannot stress that enough. I'm recommending this book to a lot of people also on Twitter. But please only read it if you're in a really good mental state, because like I said, it is really good book. It's The writing, it is fantastic, but it is really hard to read at times. And there were times when I was reading and I was like, oh my god, like, you know, it really touches all the feels at different levels, and it's a masterpiece. And the first thing I thought up after reading just a couple of chapters was, one, this is a 5-star book, I already know it. 2, this is going to be one of my favorite books ever. And 3, I need to get all the other books that this author has written, if there's any other ones, because I'm gonna need that. Then I have The Sky is Everywhere by Jendi Nelson. This is a book that I got for the Buzzword Readathon, but then I never got to it. But from what I understand, it is a hard-hitting contemporary about, you know, your first love and, you know, losing your first love, like heartbreak and stuff like that. So I'm really interested in reading it. I'm sad I didn't get to it on the Buzzword Readathon, but still I don't regret at all getting this book because it's one of those that I wanted to read anyways. Then I got Roomies by Christina Lauren because I want to read Christina Lauren. I have not read any of her books yet, so probably this is going to be the first one. I've seen people that I trust in the booktube community talking about Christina Lauren for forever and about her books and how much they love her books, or their books, because Christina Lauren, it is a combo of 2 different authors. So I was like, I need to change this, I need to get to these books. So I started getting a couple of them so I can finally read them. And by the title, I assume that this is going to be a romance between roommates. So we will see, but I'm really pumped about this one. And the other Christina Lauren book that I got is Autobiography, because a lot of people have been reading it and really praising it. This deals also with first love and with heartbreak, and it is about this boy, and he's bisexual, but his family moves to another city and then he decides to go back into the closet. So this is going to be an LGBT romance, and I am super excited to read this book, you know, find out more about the main characters. And apparently these 2 guys meet, and you know, I don't know, I'm really excited about this one. I've heard only great things about it, so I can't wait. Then we have what it is now one of my favorite books of all time, and that is The Hating Game by Sally Thorn. This book, I didn't know it was going to be this good, because else I would have read it the moment it came out. It's another book that I just heard so many good things about, and it is a genre where, you know, I'm not an expert, and I decided to give it a go. And oh man, this book, Hot Fire Flames, like yes, I finished this book and I was sore. I had a hangover, I needed more, I was so invested, I was so hooked, and I finished it and I just wanted to reread it again because it was that good. And my heart is breaking because this is her debut novel, and the next novel that it's coming out this year is 99% Mine, and I've only heard bad things about it. And I was like so excited that I was gonna get another Sally Thorn book this year, but apparently it's not great, so my heart is crushed. Anyways, this is a hate to love trope, but it is so well done that I'm not even bothered by it. It is about these 2 companies, publishing companies, that are separate, but one day they have to merge into one big company. And so there is this girl and this boy, and they come from the different companies, and they're put together in a room. They're basically staring at each other every day, and they apparently hate each other, but we all know they're super hot for each other. And if you're looking for a amazing, steamy adult romance and you still have not read this one, please go right now. You'll thank me later. Then I also got The Humans by Matt Haig, because I've been meaning to read Matt Haig for forever, and I mentioned in my video that I did at the beginning of the year authors that I want to read in 2019, that I wanted to read something by Matt Haig, but I still didn't own any books, so I decided to grab this one. I think it's the story of this professor that he's found naked one day and nobody knows what happened to him, and he suddenly starts to feel like human behavior is disgusting to him. He doesn't feel attracted to them anymore, but he likes dogs. So I can identify with that. But this is what I know about the book, and I'm super excited, and if I really like this one as much as I'm expecting, I'll get more of his books. Then I have The Cheerleaders by Cara Thomas. I got this one because I think it came out last year, and I want to read more horror or mystery thriller kind of stories, so I decided to go for this one. I don't know, apparently it's about cheerleaders that die or commit suicide, so trigger warning for suicide, and nobody knows what's really happening in this town, so that's all I know. And when I go into horror mystery thrillers, I don't want to know too much, because then probably you're gonna expect already things to happen that otherwise you might not see coming. So that's all I know, and I hope it's gonna be good. Then I decided that I wanted to start collecting to read all of Kirsten White's books, so I decided to get one of her first trilogies, and that is Paranormalcy, Supernaturally, and the last one they sent me the wrong copy, so I'm waiting for the correct one, but that is Endlessly. So I'm expecting this to be a basic, normal, supernatural story about a girl that probably is gonna have some romance in there as well. But I do want to read Kirsten White's books, and I wanted to start with some of her first books just to see how her writing style, you know, develops through the years. Then I got Blood of Wonderland by Colleen Oakes, and I own the first book. This is the second book, and there's a third book, I think, that it's already been released, I believe, or it's going to be released this year. I still have not read the first one. All I know is that they have to do with Alice in Wonderland and that world. So that's why I'm collecting them. That's my only reason for spending my monies. The other one is here. I don't know, you cannot see it, but this is the other one. The first one, and I still have not read it, but hey, I got the second one. Another book that I forgot to mention that I got for the Buzzword Readathon was the group book, and that is When the Sky Fell on Splendor by Emily Henry. And I was super excited and super pumped about this book because it had to do with kids and aliens, and it was, you know, blurbed to be something like Stranger Things and stuff. And I have to say, I really wanted to love it, but I didn't. I think I ended up giving it only a 3-star out of 5. And that was also because I did like some of the topics that they touched in the books about aliens and, you know, black holes and things that were a little bit more kind of scientific, and I thought that was really great. But for me, it was like the main characters were very interchangeable. Like there was no layers to the characters. They were very basic to me, so it ended up disappointing me, and I was really sad because the book's really pretty and I was really excited because I love Stranger Things, but it just didn't do it for me. Next we have More Happy Than Not by Adam Silveira. If you don't know it, last year I read What If It's Us, and I fell in love with that book so hard that I am collecting all of Adam Silveira's books. I also read already They Both Die at the End and absolutely loved it. So I'm just getting more books by him because I think that I'm gonna like his other books. We will see, because they are all kind of different, but I grabbed a copy of this one. This is his debut novel, and it was very praised. I know that some people don't really like it. I don't know if it's because it was his first and maybe his style is different, but we will see because I still have not read it. Next is Summer Bird Blue by Akemi Dawn Bowman, and she already wrote a book that I was interested in that I still don't have, and that is Starfish. And both, as far as I know, are hard-hitting books. I believe this one's contemporary, and I think Starfish is also contemporary, but I think it has some Asian touches. I'm not really sure. All I know is that somebody dies, a family member dies in a car accident, and then the family moves somewhere else. I guess it's going to be, you know, how to deal with grief, how to move on after a tragedy like this happens. And I don't know what's going on, but I'm feeling more and more like drawn towards hard-hitting contemporary books. Maybe it's a new thing that, you know, I'm really enjoying at the moment. So I got this one and I cannot wait to read it, even though it's probably gonna break me. Next we have Light as a Feather by Zooey Arsen, and this book is another one that I was super excited about, but it disappointed me. This is a book based on a couple of girls that play this game, and in this game you're basically telling the other girls how they're gonna die. And behold, all these deaths start to happen exactly as they were described. So I was super interested in this premise and I thought it's gonna be amazing, but then it wasn't. So it kind of disappointed me. Probably gonna unhaul this at some point, which I'm very sad about. but you know, I have to make space for more. Next is Contagion by Erin Bowman, and this is going to be a book about a virus, so I love that, you know, it's kind of science fiction, horror kind of stories. It is about this crew that goes to a distant planet, and then I think they send kind of like an emergency signal, and when they get there, most of them are dead or something like that. So it's totally down my alley, it's totally my jam, so I really hope it's going to be great. Next is Unbecoming by Jenny Downham. I think this is based on a couple of different stories from different women, and you know, how they deal with things that happens in their lives, how you grow as a person. So I think it's going to be another hard-hitting contemporary, which is what I'm currently in the mood for. I don't know why I want to, you know, put myself through so much misery, but another one that I have high hopes for, and I hope it's gonna be good. Then I decided it was time to join the Twitter booktube community and everything else and around the booktube community, because I got The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Yes, I finally, you know, decided to get it because everybody and their neighbor has been talking about it. Also because the second book, I think it's The Wicked King, was released this year, and everybody has been like spamming about it, which I understand. If you're excited about a book, it's normal that you're spamming everywhere, but I just want to know. I need to know. And all I know about this, to be honest, it's that there is a world where there's humans and there's fae, and the fae don't like the human, but then there's this one human that has to go live in the world of the fae or something like that. I don't know, this probably, I think this is kind of like a hate to love trope in it. I'm not really sure, because I'm scared into reading you know, things on Twitter or listening to some people's reviews, because I just don't want to get all the spoilers. So this is all I know about it, and I hope it's gonna be good. I had to wait for my copy for weeks because Amazon was out of them. I think this happened right before The Wicked King was going to be released, so everybody was catching up with it. That's fair. Then we have The Universe versus Alex Woods by Gavin Extends. This is another hard-hitting contemporary. Yes, I'm setting up myself for grief, and it is a story about a boy who lives with a single mother, and she's a clairvoyant, and basically he gets bullied because of these, so trigger warning for bullying. But I'm excited to read about it because it is also supposed to be a tale of a unexpected friendship, like it says here, and I don't know, it just sounded like something interesting, and I could get a used copy for cheap, so I decided to grab it. And the next books that I have to show you, all the last ones from this haul, are actually Stephen King books that I want to add to my Stephen King hardcover collection. If you are new here to my channel and you have not seen my other book hauls, basically I have decided that because I have so mixed and different types of editions from Stephen King, I have some in Spanish, most of them are trade paperbacks and things like that, so I just want to get now a consistent collection in hardback of all his books, ideally, if I can, even though some of them are super pricey, especially the first editions and things like that. I don't necessarily need the first editions, I just want to have them in hardcover to have a nice, pretty, more consistent, you know, collection of Stephen King's books. First we have The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, and I have this one in Spanish, and I don't know if it's hardcover or softcover, but I do own this book. It's in my parents' house in Spain, but I didn't have the English hardcover edition, so that's what I needed for my collection. And I'm trying to get them all in used condition, but in very good or like new used condition, so that I also don't end up spending a ton shit of money on books, because if you buy them all new, they're very, very pricey, and some of them you don't have the option to buy them new anymore. Then we have Carrie, and I'm so happy I got this edition. Actually, when I ordered it secondhand, the cover that I could see was different, but I'm so happy I got this one because it looks so cool. And look who's in the back. That's my man. That's Stephen King. I absolutely love it. Next is Doctor Sleep. This is the second part to The Shining, chunk of a book, Stephen King approved. And because this is getting a movie, I think at the end of the year, I would like to reread the book in English, so you know that I'm ready for the movie. Then I have Mr. Mercedes, and this is the last one that I needed in the trilogy to have consistent hardback copies, because from these ones there are different editions and I wanted to have the same edition for the trilogy, and I managed to get this one. I mean, look at the back. I mean, just look at it. It's just beautiful. And I got this one in like new condition for like $8, and it's literally new. Like it's new, and I'm so happy because if you buy this new, it's like 28 euros, and I only paid 8. Yay me. So I'm trying to, you know, to get a nice collection, but also watching a little bit the money. And the last one is Stephen King, Hearts in Atlantis. I've always loved this cover. I think I have the same cover but in a Spanish paperback, also at my parents' house. So yeah, I got this one. So cute. And now I can add it to my Stephen King collection. Another reason why I'm getting all of them now in English hardcover is because, you know, I want to have a nice collection that I can access to right now, because most of my older Stephen King books and things like that they are still at my parents' house. Also my old Spanish Harry Potter books, all of that stuff, it's still at my parents because I could not really take everything that I owned when I moved to Germany, because I came to Germany by car driving. So it's great that I can have now access to these books as well in English if I want to reread them. And these were all 28 books that I had to show you in this book haul. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know down below what you thought about the books that I mentioned. Have you read some of them? What were your thoughts on the books? Let me know all that down below in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Give the video a thumbs up for support. Subscribe to the channel. All my other social media is listed down below for you guys, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!